just wanted to welcome everyone to our first Experts Talk session for Techoryze. Techoryze is a startup focused on helping K through 12 teachers do more with technology. And we do this through a community of highly experienced instructional technologists and technology integration specialists. Our experts have an average of 15 years of K through 12 experience and about 11 years of instructional technology experience on average. We're looking to support teachers in 3 key ways. One is through one-on-one scheduled sessions with experts to solve problems or talk about lesson plans, on-demand help when needed to solve problems, and then expert talks like this one. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Kristina and Allison, and today they're going to be talking about how to organize your Google Drive to increase classroom efficiency. Thank you, Kristina and Allison.
All right, you're welcome. Let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen.
Sure, and I'm going to turn this over to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, just a couple slides to go through. Before we start, my name is Kristina Meyer. Like Imran said, I am a district instructional technology coach, and I've been doing that for the past couple of years. I've been in the field of education for a little over 12 years, and I've had the privilege of teaching in Missouri and Oregon, and now I'm in the state of Mississippi, and I've taught middle school, special education, and elementary. And then I'm just very passionate about helping others succeed with technology, seeing their potential, and helping people grow. And I'll hand it over to Allison.
Hello, my name is Allison Griffin, and I currently work in Charlotte, North Carolina at an independent school as a digital learning catalyst. So I support teachers and students, and I have 12 years of experience in education. This is my 8th year in instructional or ed tech. I also teach kindergarten through 5th grade and 6th and 7th grade computer science classes. And I love to always say this, but I'm always learning, and there is always something to learn. And I love that about my job and the field of educational technology.
And since it's only one of you, is it Shalene? Am I saying that correctly?
Shalini.
Shalene.
Shalini.
If you don't mind, can you tell us what your position currently is?
I teach middle school social studies.
Okay.
And I also, my background is actually biochemistry and research. So I also do STEM, and I teach in a charter school. So I'm also a STEM teacher for kindergarten through 8th. And I also do middle school social studies. So
wow.
Doing a lot of things. And we also, last year, because of COVID, we had all our STEM was online. So we did a lot of online STEM experiments and technology things. We did a lot of that. But Google Drive, I have heard about, I started doing Google Drive maybe 6 years ago. But the biggest challenge is to organize, because I save things, then I put them in a different folder, and then my son, who's kind of a total tech geek, he look at me, he look at my thing, and he said, "Where is everything? Where do you save?" I said, and I've got 3 different Google accounts. So if I'm on one, then it saves into that Google Drive. Then I have to. So it is like a total mess.
I understand. With you teaching,
I thought, okay, this would be very good, because everything is. Before we had Canvas, this year we're doing Canvas, last 2 years for COVID, but Google Drive is like your mainstay. Everything is in Google Drive now.
Okay.
So I want to know that I want to really organize it much better. I try to keep them, okay, 7th grade work, 6th grade work, STEM work, but yeah, that's my challenge.
So you're wearing lots of hats and doing lots of things. So you definitely need to organize it, and we can definitely help with that. And just on a side note, I'm also a Canvas admin, root admin. So if you ever need help with Canvas, I can help with that too.
A lot of challenge. It was a big learning curve last year. This year I'm a little bit better. But even now we have a lot of challenges with it.
I would agree. I would agree. Well, I hope today we can definitely help you with that. And since it's just you, I mean, feel free to unmute yourself the whole time if you'd like and ask questions and be interactive as possible. That would be great. But here's just a little agenda. So we did our introduction. I'm going to explore some Google Drive features here in just a moment. And then we're going to learn how to create those folders and subfolders. We're going to learn how to color code them and organize them. And then probably one of the biggest things with a lot of people is just how to get all that information that you already had in your Google Drive, or maybe that's stored on your computer. How do you get that into those folders? So we're going to learn all of that today. And like I said, please just feel free to interrupt me at any point in time. So the first thing that we're going to do, and I see you're a note taker, so if I'm going too fast, you let me know. First thing that we're going to do is we're jumping into my drive, and I have a ton of stuff in my drive. So I have it organized in a few different ways, mainly for today's presentation. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the settings icon. There's just a couple things within the settings. Let me move that over. I am an admin at our school, so you'll see I have admin console, but you guys won't have that unless you're an admin. So within the settings, there's just a couple things I want to show you. Right here where it says offline, if you check this, if you don't have a good internet connection, you can check that you can still work in your documents offline. So as long as that's checked, we can go to an individual document and right click, and I'll show you again here in just a moment how you can work offline. So I suggest checking that box. And then suggestions, if you, let me kind of move this to the side here, you'll see in the background they're suggested at the top. So those are your most recently used files. If you don't like that, you can turn it off and you'll see now it disappeared. However, I do like having that, so you can show it in my drive and then the shared with me page. So if you don't like suggested, you can turn that off. Notifications, I personally like getting email notifications about my Google Drive items. If someone makes an edit or comments, I get an email. So I do have that on, but that's user preference. So those are the two things in your settings I wanted to show you.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Since we are in our school has its own, whatever you can call, what is it called? Like in our school is Alachua Learning Academy, so it's called ala.org. So they have their own little, we have an ORG account. Do they manage those, or can we change these? I wonder if they manage these settings. I can look up.
You should be able to change this setting. And if you want, is there a way, Imran, for me to be able to communicate after this with?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have Shalini's email address, so we can certainly have your
Yes, my email address. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. You should have these settings. Yes, you should. And then you should also have this little check mark as well. So I'm ready for offline. And that just means if it's checked, that means, again, you can go to a document. Like, let's say I want this place value document. I right click on it and I can make this available offline. So whenever I right click on it again, you'll see that you can do that for individual documents. So if you have something that you work on regularly, I would highly recommend that, just in case, because you don't know when something might happen to where you don't have a connection. The other thing I wanted to show you is we have what's called a list view and a grid view. You can click on list view, and then now you'll see it's organized alphabetically in a list. Right now it's organized A through Z, but if you click this little arrow, you can descend it and it'll go through Z through A. I personally like the A through Z, and then I personally like the grid view. So I'm going to go back to the grid view. One other item I wanted to show you is this details icon. If I click on a folder or a document and I click this details icon, it's going to show me all the details, who have access to it. It's going to show me who the owner is, when it was last opened, and when it was created. And then something I really love is you can click activity, and then you can scroll through and see every single person, what their activity was, what they've done in a folder.
Oh, I see.
Yes, it's really nice. Okay.
It sometimes pops up and I wonder what's the point of it. Now I know.
That's right. That's right. You can also right click on something and you can view details right here as well. So there's lots of little shortcuts here. One other item I really love that I didn't know about until recently, let's say you have documents or even folders that you work on all the time and you want to be able to quickly get to them. You'll have this section over here that's called starred. So what that is, if I click on this ELA curriculum folder, let's pretend like I use this all the time, which I do. I can, well, here, let me get to one I did not star yet. Let's say I want class labels. Okay, so I can add a document or a folder to starred. And then whenever I go to starred, it's going to kind of be like your bookmarks page. So you'll see up top here, I have folders that are starred that I frequently use, or I can just have individual documents. Now, let's say you want to take one out. You can just right click and just remove from starred. So think of it like a bookmarks page. Any questions so far, any of that?
I just wanted to say that when the folder has got star on it, if you actually have, or the doc has a star on it, if you actually go to the doc, on the top there's a star, and you can click on that, and the star from yellow it becomes blank. Then it's starred or unstarred. You can also do it right there.
When you open a document.
Yeah, see up there, there's a star over there.
Yes,
right? If it's a starred
right
one,
there.
yeah,
Yes.
then you can unstar it right there.
Okay,
too.
so you already know about
Yeah,
starred. Good.
I kind of discovered it 3 years ago.
Well,
Yeah.
awesome. I find that very helpful. I like that. Allison, do you have anything to add?
No,
Any settings?
I think the bookmark section kind of goes with the priority. So I think as far as like using bookmarks as starred, but also using priority workspaces. So like you have two there where you can create categories of those starred files essentially. And that's really useful at certain times of the year. Maybe it's like the grading period and you need to like, you know, put multiple files there about that, or beginning of year files. And so I keep like, you know, there are like a couple of workspaces, and then you can just add things to your workspace. They can be starred and they can also go here. And that's really helpful, just as getting quickly to a list of things within your drive that may be stored in different places.
So what's the difference between priority and star then? It seems like they're almost similar.
They are very similar. The priority just at the top, it's going to show you the ones you visited the most, but then the workspace section, that is going to allow you to create essentially categories of starred documents. And then you can put them, you can just put multiple items that could be in multiple different folders within your drive in a workspace is what it's called. So they don't live there, they're just bookmarked there. And if you needed to, you know, revisit or have multiple files that maybe even you don't own, like maybe it's the school owns them, like handbooks or something, I don't know. And you wanted them all in one quick place to get to, you can create a workspace for them. Or if you have syllabus or, you know, things like that, that are from many different classes, but you need it all in one place quickly, it just creates like another bookmark. So it's like starred, but categorizing almost your starred files. Yeah.
I didn't know about that. That's new.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go into creating folders and subfolders. Are you familiar with creating folders and subfolders just yet?
I create folders and I stick things in the folder, and I think I do. I don't think I've made subfolders, but maybe I have by default. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Done it.
So let me just give you a quick, just little maybe snippet of the folders. When you create a folder, it'll ask you to name it. And so as you know, then it'll automatically put it, let's say I call this one school. It'll automatically alphabetize your folders, A through Z or Z through A, however you have it organized. However, if you're really particular, and let's say that you want something up front, you can change the name of it and you can put a number in front of it. So you can number your folders to kind of bypass that alphabetical order, and it'll order them in that way. Then one other tip also is you'll see I have some emojis on some of these. I have the emojis on the right side. So if you, I don't have one here. Let me right click and I'm going to rename this one. If you want to add an emoji, if you add it to the beginning, it's going to read it and put it in the very front of your list. If you add it to the end, it'll still go alphabetize it with the B. So to add an emoji, you can do Windows and your period button. Or if you're on a Mac, I believe, Allison, is it Command period?
It is Command Option Spacebar.
Command Option Spacebar. Okay. So
What
you
was
can.
No,
What was
hold on.
the-
That's not right. It's Command Control Spacebar.
What
Yeah,
was the,
Command Control
what,
Space.
I'm sorry, what was the thing for Windows? Windows, how do you get to emojis?
Windows is the Windows key. Hold down the Windows key and the period button.
Oh, period.
And so-
Oh, okay.
And this will pop up. This actually works too in Canvas. So if you have modules, you can put little emojis for your modules too to title it.
I do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. It helps organize it. It's just a good visual way to organize it. But let's say I clicked my Windows and my period. I'm going to type in the word book. And so you'll see all the books will pop up.
Yeah.
And then I can just click a book and hit OK. So now you'll see that nice little book icon. You're kind of limited to the Windows emoji. So I'm not sure if you've heard of Emojipedia. They have a ton of emojis if you want to get really detailed with your emojis. But they have a lot more options. And all you do when you go to emojipedia.org, I find one like let's say I want to do this composition notebook. I just click on it. And then all I do is hit copy. And then I can go back and edit or rename. And then Control V is what I like to use. That's the shortcut for paste. And there you go. So that's just another way to organize things. I started playing around with the emojis. I didn't get everything with an emoji. And then I just did the numbering just for today's purpose to show you how it overrides the alphabetical order.
Quick question. What is the advantage of having an emoji on the Google in these folders? I'm just wondering.
For me, I like it. It just helps me visually see, like when I'm scanning things, because I have so many folders. It helps me. I can see, okay, that's the phone tree. I remember that's the phone. It just helps me visually see things very quickly. You know, field trip has the bus.
I see.
So it's just user preference. Mm-hmm. And then the same thing with color coding. So you can right click and you can change the color of your folders. And I don't really necessarily kind of have a rhyme or a reason to my color coding. It's just kind of what I feel goes with the topic. I've seen some teachers where maybe they create a folder and let's say they have the ELA Center folder and all of their ELA Center items within there. Let me double click in this real quick. Maybe all of these would be blue. Or maybe all of the 2021, 2022 school year items might be red. So it's just based on what you would like, or you can color code by subject since you teach or grade so many different subjects there and grades. Now to create a subfolder, it's really simple. All you do is double click inside one of your folders. I'm going to go to my math, my centers. And from there, once you're inside of your folder, you just do the same thing. You hit new. Oh, hold on. My daughter's toy just went off. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. So you'll just create a folder just like you normally would. And I might title this math and hit create. And you'll see it'll pop up in alphabetical order. And then of course I can rename it. I can color code it. And then I can continue doing this for as long as I want. I can continue going into math and create another folder. So you can create as many subfolders inside of folders as you'd like. I haven't gotten that crazy. I mainly just create one big folder and then I might put subfolders in there. So for instance, with math or your STEM, you might break it down by standards inside with your subfolders or quarters.
Okay.
You have any questions about subfolders?
No, I mean, I didn't know when I click new it will just make a subfolder within the folder. Good.
Yes.
All right.
And it's the same thing with a document. I'm kind of jumping a little bit ahead, but I feel like it's relevant right here. Let's say I have a fraction. Let me double click on this fraction. If I go to new, and whatever I create inside this fraction folder, let's say I want to maybe make a Google slide or a Google Doc with some notes in it, it will automatically be put into my fraction folder since I'm already in here. So you'll see I'm in my drive, I'm in center folder, and then I'm in my fraction folder. So whichever folder you're in, when you hit new, whatever it is, a file upload, a Google form, it can be anything, it will automatically be put into that folder. Okay. One other thing, one really good thing about folders, you'll notice some of my folders have the little person icon and some of them don't. So what you can do is when you right click, you can choose to share an entire folder. So if you share that folder, everything thereafter that you put in that folder will automatically be updated in that person's drive as well.
Mm.
Let's say I just wanted to share maybe my fraction folder. Same thing, you just go into your folder, find your subfolder you want to share, and click share. And so you'll see little people on every single one of these because I shared that entire Math Center folder with a few different people. And if I want to remember who it was, I can just click on it, hit that little details icon, and I can say, oh, okay, here's the 2 people I shared it with. Okay. All right, any questions on folders or subfolders?
So if something has been shared with me, which happens all the time in the school, if some things have been shared with me, can I put them in a folder of my own or they stay in their own folder?
Yes, great question. So if something's shared with you, you would go to your shared with me, just like normal. And then, okay, let's say I had this document, this PDF, and it doesn't matter if it's just one document or if it's a folder, you would do the same exact thing. You would just right click on it, and then you can add shortcut to drive. I can hear you writing, so I'll make sure I'm slowing down.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so add shortcut to drive. You'll click on my drive. You'll see this little arrow here. Okay, once you click on my drive, then you'll see the options. All of your folders will be first. So everything will be in alphabetical order. And let's say I wanted to add that to my ELA curriculum. I could just add shortcut there, or you'll see my subfolders. I can still keep going and go inside my subfolders. So you can get as detailed as you'd like.
Okay.
Then once you do that, there'll be a copy there along with, it'll still be in the shared with me.
Oh, okay. So it'll still be there, but I can also organize it and put it in mine. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So for example, let me show you something. Where did it go here? Okay. You see this little icon, this arrow, the student center coaching. This was a folder that was shared with me. And you'll see this icon here. I went ahead and added that folder, added it to my drive, the entire folder. But you'll see it looks a little bit different, but I still have a copy of it in my shared with me. But I did add it to my own drive.
I see.
And so if it's an entire folder, it'll just alphabetize itself just like everything else. And then you can still color code it and rename it, whatever you'd like.
That's good to know because we get so many things which are shared and then a year later, 2 years later, like, where would it be? Then I just go in the shared with me and there are so many shared with me things there.
Yes.
Go and look for it. All right. So it's good. Okay. That's good to know. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Allison, do you have anything to add with the share with me or folders?
No, that's great. I was just thinking about an organizational project, and if you're trying to go through your files and sorts, you do know that you can select many and drag them to folders too.
Yes.
So if you, yeah, that's helpful. Okay, do you want to just show that, Christina?
Yeah, I'm getting ready. That's my next section is sharing.
Oh,
Dyslexic and I can.
Oh no, you're fine. We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so yes. if you have a ton of items like I do, and you want to move them to your folders, there's a few different ways you can do that. The first way is you can just click an item, and let's say you want maybe 3 different items that aren't near each other. So you can click on one item, hold the shift key down, and then continue. Oh, I'm sorry, that didn't work. Okay, scratch that, highlight small. If you want to add items to your folders, so if you have one item, you can just right click, and then you can go ahead and add a shortcut to your drive. Looks like this one wasn't shared with me. Let me click this one here real quick. Okay, so you can add a shortcut to your drive, and again, you'll go to My Drive, and then you'll find your folder, and then you can add it. Or you can simply click the item and drag it to the appropriate folder. Now, if you have more than one item and they're kind of all by each other, you can simply hold down your cursor and it'll highlight, you can see it highlighted these whole 2 rows here. So to move them, you'll hold down Shift and then just click and drag, and you'll see the number 10. I have 10 items, and then I can just drop it in whatever folder I would like. I'm going to let go of that. Okay. Now to upload items to your folder, all you'll need to do.
Question. So you said if they were close together, or if you want to do one at a time, but what if they are not close together? What was that? You were going to say that. How do you do that?
Yes.
So
Allison,
it's the command key on a Mac keyboard, and I think maybe that's the Windows key possibly.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, it's the control key. I'm sorry, I was holding down the shift. So control, if you click on one, hit control. There we go. Now you can click on others that aren't touching each other.
And I'll just add another, just on the left-hand side, if you expand your drive, sometimes if you're deep down in all of those files, I just drag them to the left sometimes into the folder. So that's another way. It's doing the same thing, depends on how far you're scrolling up to get back to your folders here, or you can drag them over to the folder or subfolder on the left.
Yes, that's a great tip. So this little tiny arrow will be your little drop down with all your folders right here. So she was saying you could just click, and again, you hit control to copy more than one that aren't touching each other, and then you'll still have to hold down the shift key to click and drag. But you'll see I have 2, and then I can just drop them wherever I want. And you'll see how my folders expand out to my subfolders when I hover over them. You can just click this little caret to pop it back up.
Great. That's a great. Yeah.
Oh, good. Good. Now, if I want to upload something from my computer, if I go in that folder that I'm wanting to upload, so I clicked in my centers folder, my math one, and then I go to new and file upload. Same thing. You can click, let's say I have a few downloads, you can click mini by hitting down the shift and hit open, and then you'll see all of these items are going to go into my folder here. So whatever folder you have open, when you click new and upload, that's where it's going to go. If you're in a document, if you're working in a document, to move it while you're working in it, you can just hit this little file folder icon, add shortcut to drive, and then same thing. And go to My Drive. And that was one that was shared with me, so that's probably not the best example. Let me go to this one right here. Okay, so you'll see the file folder, and then I can move it to wherever I want, whatever folder I want. Okay. Okay. So what questions do we have? Allison, do you have anything else that you want to mention?
No, that was great, Kristina. Good job.
Thank you.
Are you doing any other sessions which on other things, tech related stuff?
Yes, I will be in the future. I have a little about me is I'm pregnant and due any day now. So
Wow.
that is kind of dependent upon that. I'll take a little bit of a break, but if you want to reach out to Ren, I would love to work with you or help you with Canvas, anything really that you need.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Shalini, we have a whole series lining up. So across, so we talked about Canvas, but Screencastify, Nearpod, Padlet, Edpuzzle. So really, what we're looking to do is cover as much of the landscape of edtech apps and platforms and solutions that are out there. And Kristina and Allison obviously know the Google suite really well, but also know a range of other apps. And then overall, I guess I'll add is that we have 29 experts at this point, including Allison and Kristina. So we can cover a really broad range of apps as well. So I can reach back out to you, Shalini, and just follow up. And if there's other apps or platforms that you yourself or other teachers within your school are interested in getting some support on, we can certainly share the list or be able to kind of set those sessions up.
Sure. So when we take this, because in the school, there's always teachers always talking about, and we are a very small school, about like professional, whatever they call PD points or something like that. We take. So we get some, because it says PD. So I'm guessing it would be we get some points for that. And can we also set up like so that all our teachers take at one time?
Sure.
So and then we can actually do it as a little session like that, so everybody can benefit. Because like I've heard so much about Padlet, and what was the other thing you said?
Flipgrid, Nearpod,
Edpuzzle.
Yeah.
Edpuzzle I use all the time, but I've heard about Nearpod and I have no idea how to do it, but I would love to learn about it because on Canvas, I'm in a Canvas group on Facebook, and the people are always using Nearpod, and I'm like, what the heck is Nearpod? It looks like it's something interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to learn about it. Yeah, so
you would love it with your STEM kids.
Keep me on your mailing list, and we would love to attend those sessions and find out more about all these different apps. And because now it looks like online is our future. Everybody, even though we are at school now, we are still on Canvas, and we're loving it. We're loving it because it's so much more organized. So
yes,
that's awesome. That's great to hear. Well, thank you so much for your time, Shalini, and of course, thank you so much, Kristina and Allison, for walking through. I mean, I certainly picked up things that I didn't know about Google Drive, so this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, that's great.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good luck, Kristina, with your baby.
Well, thank you. It was very nice meeting you, and thank you for being a great participant.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Kristina. Kristina, do you mind handing me back the hosting? I don't know how it's going to save the recording.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.
Wonderful
Take
holiday.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.